Okay, we'll start our discussion. So, in the last class, we had discussed some modulated signal examples. That is, we have seen with respect to how to convert a digital data to digital signal, followed by digital signal to uh, digital, digital signal to analog data to digital signal, analog data to analog signal, right? So many things we have just seen it. So in that, the last part was analog to analog conversion. So analog signal to analog conversion. That is where your modulator comes into picture, right? So that ends. That entire topic is based on your module 2. So we are starting a new particular module, that is module 3. It is based on your bandwidth utilization, followed by any particular error is if it is available means how it will be rectified. So with respect to your data link layer, to the extent we'll just see it. Okay. So we'll just check out the first topic, that is bandwidth utilization. What do you mean by bandwidth utilization? What do you mean by bandwidth? Where it will be present? Now we are not talking about the physical layer. We are talking about the transmission medium. So where your actual process continues. So which is your transport mode? Based on that particular mode of channel, we are talking about that particular channel. Based on that, we'll just say how much bandwidth it has been utilized. Okay. So now we have sent our particular data from the physical layer by converting it to analog or digital to analog or something like that. Now, how that particular channel will be channelized, how that particular data will be flown in that particular channel or in the transportation mode, in the transmission mode. That's what we are just learning it in this particular chapter. Okay, so it's based on your bandwidth utilization. Here, two things comes into picture. One is multiplexing, another one is spreading. So with respect to this topic, so we'll just take it to the next particular slide. Yeah. The bandwidth utilization is the wise use of available bandwidth to achieve a specific goal. Say, for example, I have a particular channel which can hold the capacity of 8 bits per second. 8 bits per second. I'm not talking about megabits or kilobits or something like that. I'm talking about 8 bits per second. It can hold in the entire channel for a certain particular time of duration. With respect to that, whatever the data that you are sending it, whatever the data that has been received at the receiver, if it is equal, then we'll say that it has been, our goal is achieved. So that is what we will be saying it with respect to your bandwidth utilization. Understanding it. Efficiency can be achieved by using multiplexing. With respect to your bandwidth utilization, efficiency, if you are talking about how much percentage that you have sent, how much it has been received. With respect to that, go with multiplexing. Very simple. If you are talking about the privacy, that is the security reason, followed by any particular jamming principle. Jamming, whenever we will be talking about, it is nothing but congestion we are talking. Congestion in the sense there may be a lot of packets that may be traveling through that same medium. If the packet travels in the same medium at one particular point of time, they may collide and they may just lose the data. Understanding it? Or else we can jam by ourselves. That is, we are just restricting our particular area, saying that in this particular area, if any particular signal like this, whichever the signal it may be, analog or digital, whichever the pattern that you give it, if you have that, if you are given that particular pattern with respect to that particular, you can suppress it. If you want to go against that particular thing, then it is called as anti-jam. Understanding it? So this anti-jamming followed by privacy. So these two things will be achieved by your spreading. Both multiplexing and spreading are the technique used for your bandwidth utilization itself. Okay, but with different scenario, we'll be just using this. Yeah, the first point is multiplexing. What do you mean by multiplex? You have used this particular circuit diagram in your electronics and digital, analog and digital electronics subject, MUX followed by DMUX. Have you heard about this? MUX is always converting multiple data lines into a single line, whereas DMUX is nothing but converting your one single particular data line into a multiple, vice versa. That's what your multiplexing as well as demultiplexing concept is all about. Under this particular topic, we have several. So here you need to assume that each particular transmission line will be having its own signals to be transmitted. Maybe analog or it may be digital or combination of it. Anything it will be, because digital data when it is transmitting, so you need to convert it to an analog. From analog, if you want to transmit this, then you need to use a particular type of channel. So that is what we are just talking about. So, okay. So with respect to this particular topic, multiplexing, under this we have three particular subdivisions available. One is with respect to your frequency. If the frequency comes, then time will also come. Along with these two, the direction of the data, direction of the signal that it is moving, that is with respect to your wavelength. The propagation speed with respect to that, how it will be moving, that's also considered. So three different types of multiplexing available in the multiplexing area. One is called as frequency domain or frequency division multiplexing. Another one is wavelength division multiplexing. The last one is time division multiplexing. Under the time division multiplexing, there are two types. Whenever time comes, that you'll be having the synchronization problem. So synchronization plays a vital role with respect to your time. So that's why they have subcategorized that time division multiplexing into two parts. One is synchronous time division multiplexing. Another one is statistical time division multiplexing. This is the two particular subcategories that we'll be having with respect to your time division multiplexing. So what is frequency domain division multiplexing? When will be applying it? So normally whenever we are going with respect to your suppose the channel can accept the analog signal, or analog type of signal is sending is the signal that has been sent from the sender. Say for example, our voice channel, or else a human voice is transmitted, then it is an analog signal, right? So if you have an analog signal to be transmitted, then we will be always going with respect to your frequency division multiplexing. Or else you can go with wavelength division multiplexing. Whenever analog signals comes into picture with respect to your transmission medium, so at that time you can go with frequency division or wavelength division. Whereas with respect to your digital signals, if you are transmitting it, if your channel can accept the digital signals, if the digital signals is transmitting, then you need to go with time division. There is no alternative. Digital, always fix it with time division. Analog, you fix it with frequency or wavelength division. According to our syllabus, wavelength division is not available. So we will say only frequency division as well as time division in our particular discussion. So frequency division will always be taking care about your analog signal to be converted or to be transmitted, whereas your or received, anything you can just say. So with respect to your time division, it will be always transmitting or receiving your digital signals. So this is how it will be going. So we'll just see the next slide. Next slide is based on your division of your channels. This is how it will be available. N inputs, that's what I said. If you use a multiplexer, so it will be converting N inputs to a one output. That's what your multiplexing is all about. So with respect to demultiplexing, since we have demultiplexer also should be available. Why? Because your original signal is not this particular signal what you are transmitting, right? So I need to change that particular concept. For that, demultiplexing plays a vital role. In this, if you have observed, there is a one particular link available from your sender to receiver. This part is sender. Unmute. Kindly unmute yourself. You're joining a meeting. Okay. This part is sender. This part is a receiver. Fine, sender, receiver. So using this particular one link, you're just uh, taking to the next level. Okay, so using this particular one link, there are n channels. That is what they are saying. What is this channels is all about? It is nothing but the division that you are making it. That's it. That's why it's called as division. So if you want to have a frequency division at that particular point of time, uh, you'll be dividing the entire channel. The time will be one and the same, whereas in the same particular time duration, you'll be just transmitting three layers of data. So three different signals can be transmitted through this particular channel. That's what it says. Whereas if you are using, if this is with respect to your frequency division, this is with respect to your frequency division. Once again, I'm telling you, this is F D frequency division multiplexing. If the same thing, if I want to change it to time division, I'll just shortly, I'll just write it as TDM. If it is TDM, then I'll not be having this particular number of channels. How the channel will be divided in that is based on the time. So vertically you are dividing it. So this is allowing one type of signal to allow to transmit. This is allowing another type. This is a third type, fourth. So four different signals can transmit it in different time duration. Understanding it. So this is with respect to your TDM. The previous example was with respect to your frequency division multiplexing. So that's all with respect to this. Next slide. Let's move on to the next slide. So that's as I have mentioned, multiplexing is divided into three parts. This frequency division multiplexing, wavelength division multiplexing, time division. The frequency division and wave division multiplexing will come across the analog signal transmission. Whereas the transmission medium that supports is analog signal. Whereas your time division multiplexing, it supports your digital signal. So keep that in your head. Once you have digital, then you need to move to the time division. So that means a block of data one at a time can be transmitted in a single stipulated time of duration. Whereas with respect to analog, any number of signals in the same duration, you can just transmit it. So that's how it will be avoided. So keep that in mind. Frequency division, as I told you, how it will be. So in our particular discussion for today's class, we have just limited ourselves to just know about what is this FDM is all. Okay. So frequency division multiplexing is nothing but it's an analog type of multiplexing technique that combines analog signals. I'm talking about only analog signals. So your input is also analog signals, your output is also analog signals. But you are combining it. You're combining the whole thing and you're passing it as a single channel itself. Sorry, in a single link itself. N channels will be a single link. Okay. So this is one type of example that has been posted at our end. So one is the analog signals that has been converted, that has been taken care with respect to your baseband that has been, sorry, these are all the analog signals. Let's try to annotate it. These signals, whatever I'm just marking it, so is nothing but your input signal. These signals are generated by your baseband channel. Baseband channel means there is a low frequency and the high frequency. Between that, whatever you are having it, so that is your actual data. So now you have a carrier frequency which will be generated by your modulator or any particular circuit. So since we are using analog, signals, analog to analog conversion, if you are just observing it, so that we had three different terminologies. One is with respect to your frequency, you can change it. Another one is with respect to your amplitude, you can change it. The other one is with respect to your phase, you can see change it, right? So with respect to the three different terminologies or three different techniques we had: frequency, amplitude, modulation, or frequency amplitude division, AM will say it. So whereas with respect, sorry, FM will say it. Amplitude modulation, that is AM. So whereas phase modulation, that is PM. So like this, we have just divided ourselves, right? So in this, the modulator is nothing but the carrier frequency. Carrier frequency is generated either by using your voltage controlled oscillator or oscillator. So whichever you are comfortable with respect to that. So if you're going with phase modulated signals at that particular point of time, voltage controlled oscillator comes into picture. Frequency, voltage controlled oscillator comes into picture. Whereas with respect to your amplitude modulation, we'll be just going with converting it using the simple oscillator circuit. Why oscillator? Because you're converting that particular unidirectional signal into bidirectional signal. That's the one thing. Second thing is it will be observing your DC voltage to convert or to generate that particular type of signals. So that's because of it, we'll be using it. Here we are going with amplitude modulation technique itself, that is AM. So why it is amplitude? Because if you just observe this particular output, you observe it with respect to one single signal, how it is coming. See here, your amplitude is getting changed. It is not with respect to. Once you have an amplitude changes at that particular point of time, this is modulated where where that particular amplitude is changing. That is where your data is all about. This is where the data is available in this particular scenario. The rest of it, the same modulated signal, whatever you have, it will be continued. You can just the same amplitude, it will be there. If it will not be varied with respect to the amplitude, then no signal is generated. If it is varying with respect to the amplitude, some signals will be generated. That's how it will be working with respect to your amplitude modulation, which we have discussed in the previous chapter. So the same thing, you're just continuing with respect to our particular example. Like this, the first waveform is converted. Similarly, first waveform is converted. Similarly, the second one, so third one. So with respect to this, see here. So where it will be having the highest amplitude, it is changing. So your amplitude with respect to carrier frequency that you are using it for generating it is a different scenario. But here is changing. So with respect to these particular thing, if you are using a summer or adder circuit, at that time you will be getting a multiplexed signal. This signal will be transmitted to the transmitter. Now, transmission medium will be continuing to transmit this particular type of signal. Once this is generated, once it is reached to the destination, so reach to the other end, that is here, destination or send receiver end. So then, at that particular point of time, how this thing will be coming. So this is our signal. Now it is reaching to your destination, that is your receiver. Before sending that particular signal directly to the receiver, what it is, the demultiplexer comes into picture. What is this particular demultiplexer will be doing is, it will just bifurcate the signals separately. How it will be doing? It will be doing with respect to one type of filter that will be used. Filter here is low pass, band pass or high pass. Normally we will not go with the high pass, we'll be either going with the low pass or with respect to the band pass. So filter, what it is meaning, what is the meaning of this particular filter? Filtering is nothing but searching. So we are separating. How we are separating? For that search, we need to just go with it. So you'll be using the search keyword, right? So wherever you want, you have, if you are just finding a person phone number in your which is available in your address book or your contact address book, at that particular point of time in the search, you will be typing that particular person's name. So with respect to one or two letters, rest of it will be listed, right? So it will be bifurcated. So the same thing here also we are doing it with respect to filtering. Filtering is nothing but change the separating the separating the whole signals into three different signals were there, right? So those three signals we are separating. How we are separating it? Based on your filtering technique. Filtering technique can be low pass or band pass. Only these two will be considered because high pass will never use it. So with respect to this, we'll be just bifurcating the signal. Once it is done, the demodulator comes into picture. What is your demodulator? Once again, it will be generated with respect to your carrier frequency. This carrier frequency along with this will be resultant of your original. Once this is done, So your baseband analog signals, whatever you wanted, you wanted to transmit it, it will be transmitted to the other. Now, all these three signals will be generated in a single communication with the same duration of the time you are transmitting all these. That's why it's called as frequency division multiplex. Understanding it? So they have given several particular examples based on this particular FDM. We'll just check it out. Few examples I have taken it. I have not considered all the particular problem statements that has been listed, which is very important, which is appearing in the exam. Depending on that, we have just taken it, and it covers all the topics. If you just look into the several other problems also, it will be listed under any one of these particular categories itself. So that's why one of the other will just take it. So what this particular thing is saying that assuming that a voice channel, that is human voice channel is there. So with respect to human voice channel means it's an analog. We can easily avoid, we can easily consider that. Why I'm telling you all these particular concepts is we need to have some particular predefined assumptions in our mind, because FDM they will not ask you directly to solve the problem, or TDM they will not ask you to solve the problem. They'll give you the problem based on your particular input signal. You need to solve the problem. That's it. See here, voice channel is nothing but your analog signal, because your voice will be modulating. The amplitude will be changing. There is no constant amplitude that is available with respect to your voice channel. And one more thing is, it will be continuously available data. It will be plotting, right? So with respect to that, it will be an analog signal. So analog signal comes into picture, either frequency division or wavelength division, that should be taken into consideration. Keep that in your mind. The next thing is, if the frequency is given, then it will be a frequency division multiplexing itself. If the frequency is given in the time division multiplexing, you need to convert that into the frequency to the timing part. So then you need to analyze it. So that's a different scenario. If it is a digital data, then always you need to go with the time division itself. If it is an analog signal, then you need to go with the frequency division multiplexing itself. So with respect to this, voice channel is that it's an analog signal. So as we know that it will be having from, it should start from 0 to 4 kilohertz. That's what we have just analyzed it. So have a bandwidth of 4 kilohertz. That's what they are saying. We need to combine three voice channels we need to combine into a single link with a bandwidth of 12 kilohertz from 20 to 32 kilohertz. So the range has been given. It's a band pass channel. So lowest frequency is 20, highest frequency is 32 kilohertz. Understanding it? Now we need to assume and we need to show the configuration of this. Using the frequency domain, assume there are no guard bands. Why this guard band is needed? What is this guard band? Guard band is nothing but if there is some particular gap to be given between the channels or that is what your guard band is all about. You getting this? Guard band means it is a gap that you will be given for each channel. After each channel, if there is a gap, means that gap is called as a guard band. Why gap should be given? Maybe a question that may be rising in all of your mind. Simple thing, without guard band, you cannot transmit the data properly. The reason is, if it is overlap, means where it has been started, where it has been ended. Which is the starting part, which is the ending part. So before ending the previous particular channel, I cannot transmit the next particular channel data, right? Where it has been started, that will be the confusion that we'll be having, as well as it will be there in the transmission medium also. So just to avoid it, we need to have a guard band. But according to this example, this is an ideal example that has been given. So you need to, you should not have any particular gap between that. Without that particular gap, you need to transmit it. One more example I'll give you. If two people are trying to converse with each other, if both will be conversing the data at a time, if they send the data, means what happens? Are you getting it? So both the persons will be sending the data at the same time. A particular fellow called as sender, a particular fellow called as receiver is available. Sender will also send the data saying that hello. Receiver will also send the data hello, because this is frequency division. So same time will be maintained. So with respect to this, at the center of the particular point of, at one particular point of time, both the particular data will be collided and nothing will be listened. I'll be always telling you guys to mute the microphone at your end. Why? The reason is if you don't mute it, then the voice that is available, maybe you may not be talking about any particular thing, but whatever the background noise that you are having, understanding it. So those things will be mixed with respect to my particular words, and nothing will be heard. It will be becoming a noise because unwanted signal comes into picture. So just to avoid it, we require some gap to be available with respect to. Yes, Tanushri, you have any doubt? You have raised the hand. Yes, Tanushri, if you have any doubt, you can just, I'll just unmute you. You can just, uh, hello, Tanushri,
No, sir.
you don't have any doubt. Okay, fine. Fine, then we'll continue. Okay, so this is where your guard bands is all about. So this is the explanation that I'm just giving you with respect to this problem. Now, how to solve it? That's a different scenario, right? So each channel, so you have a band uh, pass signal that need to be transmitted, right? So how many channels, how many voice channels that they have? Three voice channels. So three different persons are talking. So three combination, you need to combine it and you need to send it to that person. Or in three different areas, the person will be talking. So all those things you need to convert, you need to combine it and transmit it. So three voice channels are there. So from 20 to 32 kilohertz you have, right? So from 20 to 32 kilohertz, if you are having, means just show you the diagram. Okay, this is how it will be. So first thing is 20 to 24, one particular type of signal will be generated. The other person will be talking in the second particular scenario, that is 24 to 28. So it's 28 to 32. So all these things, if you combine it, then it will be becoming 20 to 32 kilohertz. This is with respect to your sender part. From the sender, it will combine it with just uh, setting this particular rate. Now this will be transmitted to the receiver. Once it is transmitted, see here, band pass filter, that's what I said, either band pass or low pass, you can use it. So here, band pass filter has been used. With respect to that band pass filter, they have just bifurcated this particular signal and it will be transmitted to the each of the signal, each of the particular fellow which will be, which wants to transmit or which want to receive that particular data. So this is a simple example that they have given. Understanding it? So that's how it will be working with respect to your frequency division multiplex. Okay, so we'll go with one more particular example. This is a different scenario. We are not asking you to write any particular diagram here. So this is just straight away one particular formula. If you want, if you know, you can just apply it. You can just get back the answer. What this formula is? We'll just write it. Five channels are there. Five channels means five different input that you are feeding it to the transmission medium. So with each of which is having a 100 kilohertz bandwidth. So first channel is having 100 kilohertz, second channel is also having 100 kilohertz, third channel. So each one of it are to be multiplexed together. Okay. So what is a minimum bandwidth of link if there is a need for a guard band of 10 kilohertz between the channels to prevent the interface? Interface is nothing but collider, the confusion. Just to avoid it, we need to have a guard band. How it will be, how it is possible? That's what they are saying. So without before continuing this particular whatever the calculation that we have made, we'll just try to analyze how that particular thing can be written in the frequency domain. So in the frequency domain, so 100 kilohertz, how many? Five channels will be there. Each one should be having how many guard bands? 10 kilohertz of guard band will be there between each particular channel. This is channel one. If you're not following, I'll just annotate and tell you. Yeah. So I'll just use the text now. This is channel 1. This is channel 2, channel 3, channel 4, channel 5. Channel 5. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 channels are there. 5 channels I have just given it. So each one will be having how much? 100 kilohertz. 100 kilohertz is available, right? So 500 kilohertz is there. And they have taken that in order to avoid the interfacing, that is collision, overlapping, just to avoid it, they have introduced a guard band. That's what they say, right? So with respect to this 10 kilohertz, how many gaps you are identifying? So between your 1 to 2, 1 gap, 2 to 3, similarly 3 to 4, you need to have it, and 4 to, so how many? 4. 4 into 10, that becomes 40, plus 500 will be nothing but your frequency that you want to transmit using this particular thing. You're getting that? Is that clear? That's what they have given it. 5 channels, each of 100, 5 into 100, plus guard band that you need to have it. So totally 540 kilohertz will be about. You just try to annotate or try to write it in terms of diagram, then it will be easy for you to understand. So 100 kilohertz, 5 channels, you divide it. Then each one of it is 100. In between, the gap should be given just to avoid the interfacing or just to avoid the overlapping. So with respect to that overlapping, if it is not there, they have given the guard band as 10 kilohertz. If you just count it, 40 plus 500 will be nothing but here 540 kilohertz. That much of channel bandwidth that you have. So next one is 4 data channels, which is digital they have given, each transmitting at 1 Mbps. Use a satellite channel of 1 megahertz. Design an appropriate configuration using FDM. What is this? First thing is they have given that they have 4 different data channels that to digital. Now we cannot keep quiet because your satellite channel will be assuming or will be transmitting the analog signals. So with respect to this, we'll just quickly go through this because this will be the last slide. So after this, we'll just wind up our particular class. Okay. So I'll just brief you out about this. 4 data channels are there, which is a digital, right? Of course, it's a digital. Now I need to convert that because your satellite channel, whenever you are talking about satellite channel, can be receiving or can be transmitting only your analog signals. Analog signals. Analog signals. If you want to convert means, then you need to convert this digital to analog. Using which technique? Digital to analog. All of you are familiar with one particular technique called as amplitude modulation technique. So under that particular amplitude modulation, there is one technique called as PCM. Can you able to recall it? Pulse code modulation, where your digital signals will be converted to analog signal, transmitting it. Same thing we are just using it. So under this, what they are saying is, so based on which particular amplitude modulation we are using it, depending on that, we need to change that particular technique. Okay, so if it is amplitude shift keying means, then you will be using digital to analog conversion simple. If it is quadrature means, then the constellation diagram you need to remember. Your constellation diagram does not lie in the same particular plane, so it will be changed. So keep that in your head. So each transmitting at 1 Mbps. Use a satellite channel of 1 megahertz itself. Design an appropriate configuration using FDM. So what they are saying is, if you have 1 Mbps, 4 data channels if you are having it, 1 megahertz can be divided into 250 kilohertz. Why? 250 into 4 is nothing but 1 megahertz. 250 into 4 is 100. 100 kilohertz is nothing but 1 megahertz. So that's what they are saying. So first you need to divide that, understanding it. And then next thing is, you're having the digital data that should be converted. For converting that, we have one solution for using that. That is nothing but your 16 QAM. You can use it. What is QAM? QAM is nothing but your quadrature amplitude modulation. What is quadrature amplitude? Quadrature shift keying will be nothing but it's a combination of your amplitude shift keying followed by phase shift keying. Quadrature phase shift keying, we have used it. So we can go with amplitude modulation also. Under that particular belt, you can use 16 QAM of modulation technique for solving this particular problem. Why? The reason is each digital channel of 1 megabits per second is modulated. 1 megabits per second you are transmitting. So each one, if you are dividing it like that, how many bits are there? 4 bits you are transmitting it in one particular hertz. 4 bits of data. 4 bits of data means it should be 4 into 4, that is 16. So that's why the name 16 comes into picture. 16 into, because here 4 bits, here 4 bits, here 4 bits, here 4 bits. 4, 4, 4, 4. Like that, 4 bifurcation you need to make it in this particular digital channel. So one is with respect to your 15, 250 kilohertz with respect to that. So it will be divided. So that one, you're combining it as a 16 quadrature amplitude modulation. Each of this particular signal, how many are there? 5. So if you just combine this, you'll be just getting this particular one. That's what they are saying. Example. We'll just stop here. So we'll just stop here. If possible, we'll just continue the rest of the things in the next class. If you have any doubt, you can just discuss with me, or else I'll just wind up this meeting.